Really harping on that last scene.
It left an impression, I guess.
I'm sure it's nice that he put his wife on this pedestal and that she is, this goddess. I mean, I guess everyone would like that to be reality, but it just seems so silly.
We're not videoing these podcasts yet.
We should be, because I'm actively looking at her
One
going,
day.
I put you on a pedestal every day.
And I'm afraid of heights.
And she is afraid of heights. Greetings and/or salutations, and welcome to Imbibe Cinema. The Imbibe Cinema podcast is brought to you by the Blue Whiskey Independent Film Festival, otherwise known as BWIF. We are currently accepting submissions for our 2025 festival. We seek independent, character-driven films of all lengths, styles, and genres. To learn more, please visit bwiff.com. I'm Festival Operations Director and MC Jonathan C. Legat, along with my co-hosts, Executive Director
Michael Noens.
and Cinema Centennial Program Director.
Tricia Legat.
In this episode, we are going to be discussing the quintessential Thanksgiving movie, at least in my humble opinion, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The cocktails that we are imbibing, and I said cocktails, yes, John and the Imbibe Cinema have gone for loco. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. We have gone off the rails, if you will, and the cocktails that we are imbibing were found on the interwebs as a cute idea, and I thought, yes, let's do this, because I'm dumb like that. It is Aviation Gin on... Yeah, I know, right? Aviation Gin on the rocks for planes. There is a cocktail called the Boxcar, which has bourbon, triple sec, and sour mix for trains, and something called an automobile, which has gin, scotch, vermouth, orange bitters, and absinthe. That is for, obviously, automobiles.
And it does have a motor oil kind of glisten.
You have a motor oil kind of glisten.
Oh,
Okay.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, wow. The recipes as well as pictures are available on our websites, imbibecinema.com, and our mobile app. In addition to this podcast, we also offer a variety of shorts and feature-length independent films that can be enjoyed for free. But when you become an Imbibe Cinema member for only $59.99 a year, you also gain access to monthly limited releases as well as virtual BWIFF experiences for next spring when we do our week-long fest. To learn more and begin your membership, please visit imbibecinema.com or download the Imbibe Cinema mobile app, available at all app stores and Google Play.
Did
Okay,
you say
so
down
are they going to
loud?
down loud?
I like that. Let's make it
Down
down
loud.
loud. Down loud, that app.
Somebody needs to get on the down loud.
I like it.
I will state that we were having some technical difficulties, and the Aviation Gin on the rocks is already gone, and I'm on to the Boxcar before we've even done the intro.
However,
did you
that's a
happen
normal
to
day.
get a giant bottle of this size? Because it doesn't seem like they have any other sizes.
I did not see any other size, and yes, I got that size Aviation Gin, and it was used for both the obviously the Aviation Gin on the rocks, but also the for the automobiles. You also needed gin in that, so I used the Aviation on that. And let me tell you, for those Imbibe listeners who have either seen the behind-the-scenes footage or remember when we have previously drank gin, there's a behind-the-scenes where Michael and I take a shot of straight gin, and I had likened gin to filleting a Christmas tree. I think is the most apt way of putting it.
Sure, that's the
young listeners might not understand what exactly I'm saying, but it is definitely has the sensation of going down on a pine, tree. Aviation Gin, which is even funnier because I would think Ryan Reynolds would appreciate filleting a Christmas tree, does not taste like that.
No, it really
Surprisingly.
doesn't. It really doesn't. I'm not a gin fan, and
me neither.
Same.
I think it's for rappers and old ladies.
Yes.
Not for me. But I mean, I am getting old. But one of the things that I found interesting is he mentioned the size of the bottle. Like you can't get smaller than that. And I think, in order to achieve takeoff, you have to have the right amount of fuel.
Oh, that is a very good point. Ooh, well played.
Ooh, nice. I like that. Is
Also,
that from his website?
Oh.
No, but maybe now it is. I don't know.
It's a new tagline for Aviation. Aptly enough, as well, we are experiencing our first snowstorm here in Illinois this evening, and I say that because this whole situation of planes, trains, and automobiles starts because they cannot fly into Chicago due to a Chicago snowstorm.
Which is really funny because when you're old enough to have traveled around via plane and to St. Louis, as they do in the film, we're kind of like, the travel times here seem strange. Like, and even at the time, I would think traffic didn't move slower.
Well, true, but they actually fly into Wichita, Kansas. Mm. So they are diverted to Kansas.
Right.
And then I did pull up a number of websites that are trying to determine like what their locations were. But at the same time, I still agree with Trish that like the drive from St. Louis to Chicago should not have taken that long.
Right. Well, they had a lot of obstacles in their way.
True. But they left St. Louis when it was light out. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the whole, car fire thing that happens. But they switched off who was driving.
That's true.
When they left St. Louis, Steve Martin was driving. And by the time the car fire happens,
and they
John
stayed the
Candy,
night somewhere.
Right?
No, they stayed the night after
the car fire, right?
Yes.
And then in the next day, when they're trying to get up to Chicago, it's still 3 hours, and I'm like, you did all that in 2 hours?
Yeah,
yeah. So what we're not factoring into this whole thing is movie time, which moves at a different speed.
Correct.
In the show 24, no matter where you are in LA, you're always an hour away. Which, according to anybody in LA, that's impossible. So, movie time, though, can also work differently where it's slower, maybe. So,
yes.
Well, because it's the past, and things moved slower in the past.
maybe the speed limit was
the time it takes the meeting to end and him to get to the airport, and you're like, in New York, in downtown New York.
Oh yeah.
You're like, wait a minute, he's in a meeting and it's like 4:45 and the flight is at 6, and it's not like the meeting ends then. It keeps going, and then he ends up being like in the airport at 5 to 6, and I'm like, that's impressive.
Now,
really impressive.
Again, we do have to go with the Airplane, the movie. Back in the 80s, you could walk into an airport for dinner. Like you could just go there to have a meal or go hang out or meet somebody at a gate. Obviously, restrictions have gotten a little bit more tight since the 80s. What a wonderful time.
All those Hare Krishnas are gone.
Yeah. I obviously wasn't doing a whole lot of flying in the 80s as I was in my
diaper
aughts.
No, I would say
Not the entire 80s, but sure.
My whole experience of what flying would be is the movie Airplane as a child.
Yes.
So I just expected a lot more religious fanatics in the airplane.
Yes.
Like that.
That you have to punch to get past. Exactly.
But you get lots of flowers as you go.
Yeah. It's fair.
I do love everybody waiting in line for the payphones.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have to find a place to stay for the night.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the other quintessential, 80s tells is the sheer fact that, he can't get a hold of his wife at all times.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lock on one of the rotaries in one of the hotels that he would have to pay, extra money to get to be able to make a call out. The sheer fact that we don't have cell phones in this time.
People carry cash. and
yeah.
having a credit card is like a
taboo.
Well, not taboo, obviously, but it's like not many people have one.
Correct.
It's not, and if they have one, they have one. They don't have multiple credit cards.
And the fact that the thieves who steal all the cash out of their wallets opt not to take the credit cards because at that point it wouldn't be as advantageous for them.
Yeah, they wouldn't know how to
use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was also nice to see a lot of familiar faces in smaller roles. Where you're like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
my God.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon right away in the very beginning of the
Michael
film.
McKean. Is
And
the cop.
wait, the other, sorry, in the beginning, the other, the colleague, isn't he Ferris Bueller's dad?
Correct.
I can't remember
speaking
the
of-
actor's name, but I was like, hey,
This-
that's Ferris Bueller's dad.
Right?
Yep.
And then the secretary for the principal at Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She's
Oh, yes.
the car rental agent.
Marathon car rental, yes.
Yeah, Edie McClurg, when he's in line and she's, putting him on hold.
Yep.
Yeah. She's putting him on a hold. Yeah. Now I'm remembering.
that's Edie McClurg, yep.
I'm remembering, I'm picturing Ferris Bueller's Day Off now. I was like, I couldn't get the
Yes.
connection. But, just a moment about this particular sequence. I mean, there's just so many F words in this scene.
Oh, God,
Like,
yes.
I was like, Steve Martin, I forgot how much swearing you do in this movie. It's really uncomfortable.
It really is.
But yeah, I just
Yeah, people
remember
didn't
like
swear like that.
What?
People didn't swear like that. I
Back-
mean, they did
back
in
in the
reality,
80s?
but in movies,
Yes, not in
In
movies.
the 80s, they didn't swear.
Yeah.
they were very
They smoked.
puritanical.
Smoked
Right.
like
They smelled like-
chimneys.
Yes, and they drank like fish.
Yep.
And they talked about sex in front of children, and we all went, I don't know, it's Ghostbusters. There are ghosts in there.
Yeah. Comedy, of course, is I remember seeing this as a kid. And
Like
my
when it
parents
came
didn't
out?
bat an... Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I used to quote this movie.
Man.
The whole, like, between two pillows thing.
Well, you know what? I would say that this movie might be. It's probably in the same vein as far as vulgarity goes. Actually, probably worse than My Cousin Vinny. And
Yep.
I remember I was a child when I first saw My Cousin Vinny. I was playing
Yep.
outside, I remember, and came inside. And it was like, okay, we're going to watch this movie. And there was like this whole sit down. All right, you're going to hear words in this movie, and they are not okay to say ever. Like,
Well, that was nice that they at least
Yeah, I was
warned
given
you.
that. I was given that little, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to watch a movie that's not like cartoons," and it was awesome.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. That was a
blend.
good movie. Oh, but hey, speaking of two pillows,
Oh,
back
okay.
to that. No,
sure.
inappropriate.
Let's just dive
no,
into the two pillows.
two pillows, yes. Here's the
How about the
thing.
Bears
When
game?
you mention it, it then makes me think of any Chris Farley and David Spade film.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Like, if
for sure.
this movie was made later, it would have been those two in this movie.
I mean, if Chris Farley was still alive, this movie probably would have already been remade with the two of them. I could totally see
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
I could totally see
Yeah.
that.
In fact, to a degree, I would almost say that Tommy Boy is a
Oh yeah, for sure.
a version of this. It is a road movie, a la Bob Hope and old Blue Eyes. Shucks,
Oh, you're talking about Bing Crosby.
Bing.
Bing, good old Bing. Yeah, I would almost say that this is akin to a road movie in the sheer fact that it is, them traveling from one destination to the next.
Yeah.
And the hijinks that ensue. I do think that they obviously, 80ized the road movie by making it vulgar and filthy and horrible.
And just speaking of 80s, man, the music in this movie.
Yeah,
You're just like,
so
I
synth.
remember so many scenes in this movie, but I don't remember how 80s the music was.
Oh yeah,
I like plucked that out of my memory. I mean, it was awesome. Maybe when I first saw it, I didn't appreciate it as much.
That's fair.
The music, but I like, it was great. It was so fun. Because otherwise, I feel like without that, you could really kind of, I mean, other than like the phones situation, you could really kind of pluck this out of time, really.
Yeah, to a degree, yes.
To a degree.
As it relates to the music, no matter how many times I hear the song, and I know Tricia did not have the same reaction I do, but I think this might have actually been Tricia's official first time seeing the movie.
Yeah, I've seen
bits and pieces. Every time you go away, you take a piece of me with you. Like that song to this day, I cannot hear without thinking of the two of them walking with the trunk down the Winnetka streets and like practically sobbing, whereas Tricia's like, oh come on, like this is what's with this hold and like freeze frame and oh god this is taking too long and
the
awkward.
freeze frame at the end.
I have a whole thing that I would like to discuss.
All right,
about
discuss.
Mind you, I grew up watching John Hughes movies, so I don't know why it was so jarring, but it just seems like the relationship. Well, I mean, yeah, we talk about like how it's not a kid's film, and he did movies with teenagers for quite some time, and then and they explained that in the behind the scenes director's cut thing that we saw, where there was an interview with him.
Yes,
but whatever Steve Martin's relationship with his wife is so weird.
It's very weird.
Well, yeah,
like she's
it's
like
very
this
strange.
40s movie star look, which is she's a beautiful lady, but she's kind of like this thing, this unattainable like thing, like the fact that like there are lots of the scenes with her. There's no speaking, you just see her.
Yeah,
and then like when they finally see each other again, there is this incredible like love story, kind of crazy over the top thing, which with people with 3 small children seems a little insane.
Fair, but I think that the whole part of, I mean, Steve Martin's character is the protagonist, and I think that being with Del Griffith is what causes him to change. He realizes that there are more important things than the job, that he realizes that he's been on, away too long, that he is missing moments with his kids, with his wife.
But
and
we don't get that.
He's, like, I get that.
No, I understand. I get, I mean, I think you don't need to set it up as much for a lot of people to feel that way, to go, oh yeah, I feel that way. I feel like I don't have enough time with my family, and I give all this work to work, all this time to work. But in the movie, it opens and he's just sitting in a meeting going, I've got a plane to catch. It's not like I'm spending too many late nights and I'm missing out on all this stuff, or I'm out of town all the time. It's more like I promised her I'd be home by 9.
Yes.
And that seems pretty impressive if you're in New York and she's in Chicago. It'd be like, I'll just be back a little late tonight, honey. It doesn't seem like they do a great job of him like coming to terms and questioning and things like that. But it's not like we see him different. We only see this version of him. And like, as much of a jerk as he is, he's a jerk who's provoked. Right? He's not when he's in his world and things are going right, he's a perfectly likable guy. But then as soon as things start to get awry, or go awry, that is, and the further they go, the meaner he gets, because it's like nothing goes his way, and the more and then it's one of those things, like it's like he gets punished for being
a dick.
But he's only being a dick because everything is just
punishing him already.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think maybe what I kind of got out of it was, like somebody that harbors a lot of anger, and they don't necessarily show it in their day-to-day, but it's like underneath the surface, and that's kind of what I got from him. Is it's like he never really faced this anger, these things that like are, you know, like because there's the scene where he goes off on Del at the, you know, in the hotel room.
Yeah, before the 2 pillows.
Yes, you know, he says just really mean things. I mean, and he even references like how, you know, he can sit through these presentations. He can sit through like on the business end and be so angry, and it doesn't make him as angry as this. And so I don't know what that communicated to me was how like he has an anger issue. It's just beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And really Del brought that out from underneath the surface so he could actually face it. Which is really deeper than my first viewing of this movie. But
that's fair.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like it was unhealthy what he like, and that he buries this, but then it's societal norms, right? And I think his huge cathartic moment in the car rental situation at the counter, like that is something I think, if not, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I have wanted to say all of that
for sure.
I wanted to snap and yet what keeps me from doing it is the thought that this is not going to be received well. And also, the person at the counter had nothing to do with everything that went wrong in my personal experiences. So then I'm like, don't yell at them. They have nothing to do with it. But did I want to? Yeah. And I think like that's what the audience kind of all gets like, I've always wanted to do that, but I never do that.
Well, and what makes it acceptable for him is how she treats him before he gets up to her.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
That's where
she's
it's like,
on the phone,
you're the
putzing
worst.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, Trick, if you ever were in a situation where the person was the person responsible, how would you handle it?
It depends on my frame of mind at the moment.
Okay.
I'm not a confrontational person.
No, you are not by nature.
But if I never have to see them again, maybe I would lose it.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's really hard to probably tell what cuts that string.
No,
you know what I mean?
You're 1,000% correct.
When you're just dangling there and you're like, just say one more thing to me. And
I dare you. I dare you.
Yeah.
No, and that was specifically what took me aside was the sheer fact that, like, you know, Trish lovingly pointed out, you know, I understand this person is not the reason that this is, you know, the way that it is. And so I don't want to take it out of them. So I'm like, I need to understand what would happen if it was the person who is responsible.
Sure.
Unfortunately, you usually get that part because it will be a service industry problem and I will be so mad and I will vent to you about how I'm going to, you know, just lay them out. I'm just going to scream at them and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And then I get on the phone and I'm like, hi, so I have a problem. And in the times that I'm so angry that I'm going to like just come off snippy and whatnot, then I just give you the phone and you are charming as all get out to the people I want to punch in the face, which is funny considering I'm the one who like laid into you about them. So maybe you guys have like...
Yep, but thankfully I don't take it out of the messenger. Or wait, I am the messenger? I don't even know.
It's probably, you know, it's probably both of your years of service in the service industry.
Oh,
yeah.
But then that makes me mad because I have been in the service industry for so long that it's like there's a standard.
Yep.
All right, and I have like when people can't handle it. When you have bad customer service, then I get even more mad because it's like, look, I had to do this with the smile. The least you can do
is to give me the same smile I had to give somebody else once upon a time.
And they were screaming spit in my face, and all you're doing, all I'm doing is saying I need to just tell you my grievance, and they're like, no, I can't even like, what has the world come to? Anyway.
That's fair.
So, so the journey isn't just a physical journey from New York to Kansas to St. Louis
Wichita,
to
yep.
Chicago.
Correct.
No, Kansas gets its own state. We're not gonna everybody else is a city, but
Yep.
No.
Does anybody else?
Because Illinois
Sorry,
is Chicago.
With Wichita, did anybody else just immediately, like when that happened, and go, "Oh, the ice harvest"?
Yeah, a little
Yep.
bit.
My brain went right there. I was like, "Oh yeah, I
Right?
remember
I was
that."
like, that's
movie.
where the mob.
John Cusack.
That's the mob. But yeah, so that all over the most of it is all over the good folks in the Midwest who are nice and warm and
Don't swear.
Like, yeah, don't swear. But
They'll
yeah, so
also, for
there's a
some
physical
god unknown
journey.
reason, only have flatbed trucks and
Oh yeah, that
no
oh my
back
God.
seat, essentially.
Oh, okay, yes, and I do love that scene. I mind you, the actor who plays that role.
Oh, please, your call is important to me.
I only like whenever I see him, I think of Delirious,
Yep.
where he's got this giant growth on his neck, and he's like, "What?"
That would be Dylan Baker.
Yeah, and he usually
Dylan
plays
Baker.
a villain. He usually plays somebody smarmy, and it was but like upper class and smarmy, or but to see him play this very redneck, there with a lot of phlegm issues.
Yes.
That was definitely wow. I did not expect this actor in this position. He does an amazing job.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I saw Happiness, I think like that has
That's
ruined,
right.
that has ruined him for every movie I've seen of him. I feel because Happiness
dear.
is just
So good.
so.
It's
so
such a dark,
scarring.
dark.
It's just so
yeah.
scarring that
I mean, it's an incredible idea, and it's incredibly performed. It's really well done, but it is so dark.
Why have I not seen Happiness? Oh, all-star cast, though. Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah,
Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Yeah,
John
well,
Lovitz.
yeah,
We're wandering away.
Okay. We always wander away. That's
okay. Because
why
when
people
we talk,
tune in.
right,
Is
when we
it?
talk about planes, trains, and automobiles, we also randomly talk about X, Y, and Z.
Right, but as far
Any
as
film.
okay, so John says this is his family's Thanksgiving film, which I
this-
find interesting because a lot of people
it
have a
is.
Christmas film.
So yeah, similar to how both of our families, the Ref, may God rest its soul, was both of our families' Christmas movies, at least amongst my brother and I. And this is why I call it the quintessential Thanksgiving movie. Is to me, this is a movie that says Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is, you're thankful for your family. You're thankful for the things that you've got. You're thankful for the friends that you have, and you want to share that love and thanks with those who may not have as much. To have Del Griffith, who has lost so much, become essentially a part of Steve Martin's family by the end, whether symbolically in the long, weird looks and freeze frames, or other. To me, this is a film that we would at least watch at Thanksgiving time, because once we started quoting this movie, it was over. Similar to the Ref,
Right. Yeah. Right. You
Cult
just
classic amongst the
wanted
family.
to watch it again and again.
Oh yes.
Right.
And why
That
my
makes sense.
brother bought me the director's
Director's
cut,
cut.
or the one that
And their
has all this.
Thanksgivings, they weren't just one day, right? Because people came, like your family's all over the place. So like when
Correct.
they get together, it's for like you guys are in like of a day or two. It's more than just one.
Yeah,
one
it
meal.
was the full extended weekend, and again,
Yeah.
my birthday also falls around Thanksgiving, sometimes on Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving moves. But this has a special place in my heart.
So there's the physical journey
Yes.
with its twists and turns, and the emotional journey with its twists
Yes.
and turns. And I think it did a great job of bonding these two guys. Like they aren't always in a bad situation together. And there is this like the drunk scene in the hotel room.
Yes.
Motel room.
After the fire.
After the fire, that's a really sweet scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to take a few more minutes to fill at least one of our glasses. I don't know if I can do all three. I'd die. But get it ready to imbibe more after this. The Blue Whiskey Independent Film Festival exhibits short and feature-length motion pictures that utilize story elements in a new and exciting way. Our official selections are a carefully assembled blend of imaginative, sophisticated, and full-bodied stories. This is what our name represents. With audiences expect to experience character-driven independent cinema that is fueled by the filmmaker's passion for the art of visual storytelling. Filmmakers can expect an intimate festival experience where their personal story is valued as much as the one projected on the big screen. I'm Jonathan C. Legat, and I am here with...
I'm Tricia Legat.
And I'm Michael Noens. And
Agnes?
Yeah, Agnes is
Who's
there too.
sleeping.
Agnes is just sleeping because she's a good girl.
Yes.
We are discussing planes, trains, and automobiles. Enjoying this podcast? Please subscribe or follow us on all of your favorite podcast providers to get new episodes as soon as we release them. Rate and or leave us a review to help our show reach that larger audience. You can also follow Imbibe Cinema on Facebook, Instagram, and now Threads.
That's right. Because we are not on X. Fuck that.
FX. FX? No, that's
but no,
completely
actually,
different thing.
FX is great. They do good stuff.
Yeah, I like FX.
Let's not.
Fuck X, but FX is great.
Okay. So on that note, here, can we start off with, have you ever had a situation in which you had like a long travel journey with another human being that brought you closer together?
Yes, and Michael can potentially attest to this. I say potentially because I don't know if it had the exact same lasting impression on him as it did on me. But we once did an independent film called Coasting, where we traveled to
Cleveland,
Ohio.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Sorry, Ohio.
So, this is a lasting memory, at least for me, because you have an actor, the director of photography, the camera operator, and the second assistant director. And we only could afford a single hotel room. Now, granted, obviously this nothing untoward occurred. And, in fact, this was Michael's first opportunity to sleep with me, which... sounds awkward, but it's probably not as awkward as you think. But this
Based
was
on
the first
Tricia's
time
facial expression, it's pretty awkward.
Yeah,
she looks real
but this was the
uncomfortable,
first time,
and she's heard this story before
a number of times. But this was the first time Michael and I shared a bed together.
It's true.
Again, it was a lot of fun. There's a number of behind-the-scenes footage, outtakes and whatnot that we filmed with a GoPro or a tiny camera. But it was just very interesting to go on
outside of the hotel room, right?
Both. Well, I mean, we shot some stuff inside the hotel room because we were just having not like that. It did not turn into prawn, if you will. But it was just a lot of fun, given how guerrilla the shoot was. That we were taking cameras out on the streets of Cincinnati and filming. To try to get the larger feature film done, but we had to do it in Cincinnati, and so that we gave Cincinnati a voice and its own kind of additional character in the film, if you will. But that would be my hot take on that question.
I'm trying to remember if there has been a road trip or travel. What was the question?
Yeah, like a road trip or travel in which you unexpectedly bonded with the people that you were on the trip with. And we could say every family vacation, right?
I was going to say, yeah, because
every?
I can't reference a specific moment or particular trip, but I do know that 3 kids in the back seat is not fun.
Did you do road trips often as a family?
No, we didn't go on vacations, I think, until...
well, we went to the Dells. It was 3 hours in the car in the back seat.
Yeah.
What was the longest road trip you guys as a family took? Sounds like 3 hours is pretty consistent.
We drove to D.C. when I was in high school, and we took the van. It was so nice to have a van because we all had our own space for the first time instead of being on top of each other. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was a long family trip.
Okay,
but it was fine. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
it wasn't filled with turmoil.
No.
Yeah, that those always help. See, my road trip to remember was when my mother, my brother, and I went from Illinois all the way to the West Coast and then back. My brother was in high school and then taken a pre-college class. And so we went to drive to get him, but my father abstained from the entire trip. But we went all the way to Yellowstone, Oregon, and then back.
Yeah, I think your mom saved your journal because you were...
I did write a journal, yes.
You had a journal and you were talking about the lifespan of the bug that had hit the windshield. And it was very detailed.
Oh, yeah. No, there was a number of entries, including the one where I was specifically calling out that the no hallway motel, straight up motels. Once you get out west of Illinois, you end up with all these motels where you are going to the outside as soon as you leave your room.
Yeah.
And what an interesting world that was to me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've blocked out any... Because I've traveled and I've blacked out. Right now I cannot. The Alka-Seltzer has really just clouded my brain.
Which is funny because I can think of some of your travels, but I don't necessarily know if they needed to be brought up onto the podcast.
Right? No, I don't think so. I can't remember, but I will say no.
No.
Let's not put everyone.
They're not travels with me.
Let's not put everybody to sleep, shall we? Okay, so a big scene in the film is. I think that people who haven't seen the movie might have seen this, is them driving in the dark and they're going the wrong way on the highway.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're going the wrong way, how do they know?
You're going to kill somebody.
How do they know where we're going? They must be drunk.
Yep.
And that sequence leading, but the part that got me was the part leading up to that, where Steve Martin is asleep, which I find either exhaustion has taken its toll, or he's a very trusting passenger. Because John Candy is really getting down to
mess around. Everybody doing the mess around.
Yeah, and it is hysterical to watch. But then him getting caught. It's like a testament to how dangerous his coat is.
His coat was clearly
a hazard,
formed for this horrible purpose.
It's like, why does it have those?
The
little
look on Tricia's face is like he gets the first arm stuck, and he starts moving with the second arm, and she's like, "No, don't do it! Don't do that!"
And it's funny, but only because it's there are things that people do in movies and you're like, well, that's just ridiculous. That would never happen. But for whatever reason, I was like, no, that totally would happen. That would happen. And the fact that he's calmly telling him, I got this. And his pants match the steering wheel. Did anybody notice how color coordinated his pants were with the interior of the car? weird.
But easily one of my favorite moments is immediately after they have righted themselves from narrowly surviving
Certain
death
death.
between two semis, is them literally prying their fingers off the dashboard and the now bent steering wheel. Just hands down that, and then Steve Martin prying his fingers off the now burnt steering wheel.
I love when he pulls out his credit cards.
Yeah.
I have a Diners Club
cinder
card.
blocks that are his
I have
credit
a
cards.
Visa. I have
Here's
whatever
the gas
card is.
Yep. I've been wearing the same underwear since Tuesday. I can attest to that. How about $42 at a really nice watch? Yep.
And then he's like, I've got $2 and a Casio.
And a Casio. Again, 80s, just John Candy died.
Shower curtain, yeah, of course, yes. The shower curtain rings. How this is what he does. He's a shower curtain ring salesman.
Yep.
But then it's like, okay, so in the beginning, I'm like, okay, hotels, that makes sense, right? Motels, it makes sense that he has people he knows through that. But then it's like the train. I'm like, why do you know people in the train industry wear the shower curtain rings? I don't understand. Are they the shipping? I don't understand.
Dell knows everybody and is lovable to everybody except for Steve Martin.
Which is so funny because you call him by his character name and we don't remember Steve Martin's character name.
Neal Page.
There you go.
Neal Page.
I remember everything.
Yes. I also love how not only is his wife put on a pedestal and idealized throughout the film, but the children are beautiful little angels.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of
you're
course.
like, yeah, no, that's not true.
In his mind, they are. He's blocked
Yes,
everything else
but-
out.
Okay, so another point that brings this film is the fact that John Candy is Canadian,
Yeah.
right?
He is.
National
Yes.
treasure of Canada.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
And he has a book when they first are at the airport, and it's Canadian mounted.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's it's Canadian erotica.
Yes.
Whatever, and it's a romance novel, and he's reading, and I saw like the interview with my next guest needs no introduction with Ryan Reynolds.
Aviation gin. We've brought it back full circle.
There
Oh,
you go.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah, where he talks about how Deadpool has a paperback that he carries around, and it's the same book. Because
That's right.
his childhood hero was John Candy.
That's
Because Ryan
awesome.
Reynolds
Yeah, I
also
mean-
famously Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes you like him more. You're like, I don't think I could like that man more. Oh, nope. Now I do again.
Yep.
Yes. He's just great. Do we have anything else, or should we poke the bear?
Oh, yeah. Poke the bear, dude.
Poke
Are you
away.
sure? All right.
Yes.
First review here we have is from the United Press International. And I guess, this is the first episode back. We should probably remind what poking the bear is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read some rotten reviews of this very well-received movie and how some people just didn't get it. So, United Press International says the film barrels along with a bumbling zeal, but it's comedy at its most predictable.
That's a really funny sentence. Like,
Right, that's why I
they
struggled
write
with
for a
it.
living? Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly, this particular journalist loves the thesaurus. Oh shit! That's
no.
3 drinks. Nope, 4 drinks now that are really hitting hard. This journalist
gin is so dangerous.
It's smooth.
It's so good.
I
and Ryan
lovingly
Reynolds
convinced
is not paying us.
No, correct.
All right, so what? Who else says
All
this
right,
movie is
so
terrible?
let's go to a more reputable source.
Yes. F
Then
that
it-
international shit.
Yeah.
New
What?
York Times.
Oh!
I know, right? The film does have its scattered moments, but too often the audience has as much reason as Del and Neal to wonder where, if anywhere, they are going.
Home.
And that's our comment.
I'm sorry. If it was confusing for you, I mean, this is a very complicated plot. They were going home.
Well, Neal is. Mm-hmm. Del's technically not going home.
But he didn't realize it. But he was. He was just going to somebody else's home.
Yeah. And cut to 3 months later in the sequel where he won't move out.
Then it becomes What About Bob?
Yeah.
All right, and then last but not least, who do you think that this is going to be from?
Oh, is it the? Oh God, I can't think of the.
Yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
It's
usually
been
the
too
same.
long. It's been too long.
It's been too long. Whoosh.
Chicago Reader.
Oh, there it is.
Because they're a reader. They don't go to movies.
Correct. It's not called the Chicago Watcher.
That's a different thing entirely.
They're actually just reading the script. They're not watching the movie. They're just like, well, this script makes no fucking sense. If only there was visual representation of this.
So Chicago Reader, this is very, very simple. I don't know if we're going to even have a response to this, but Chicago Reader says, pretty dispensable.
Aw, I feel like that about the Chicago Reader.
Shit. Well,
There
there
you go.
goes best.
Blame it on me. I sank the ship.
Well, we greatly appreciate all of our listeners for choosing this podcast and for supporting independent films. Keep an ear out for our next episodes. To check out our show notes or to drop us a note, please visit imbibecinema.com. I'm Jonathan C. Legat, and thanks for imbibing with us. Cheers.